Hello everyone and welcome to the theoretical video about the nominative case. But first, of course, I want to start with why do we even need cases? Because from the people from other countries, I often hear like, we operate without cases completely. Why would Russians even need that? And here comes the first mistake a lot of people make. Never ever compare Russian with your native language. I know it sounds kind of too obvious, but I have to mention this. Don't compare it to English too much. Sometimes I will bring up English because it's kind of more like an international language. So examples I will bring from English as well, but try to avoid this from the very beginning. And you should understand that Russian is a completely different language and it follows completely different rules. So don't fall into that trap from the beginning. So cases. Basically, all you need to understand that there are some situations in our lives when we do different things. And what are cases? Cases are just the ways the words change when it comes to this or that situation. So if we take, a spoon. My son has his personal spoon, ложка. And we can have different actions with this spoon. The spoon can be laying somewhere, like here on the microphone. We can take the spoon, we can throw the spoon, we can be thinking about this spoon, like I'm thinking about this spoon. So the spoon can be involved in many things. And what makes it different in Russian? In Russian, the spoon will change its ending in all those different situations. So in English, you just use the same word, spoon. I think about a spoon. I take the spoon. I will give you the spoon. The spoon is laying on the table. The word doesn't change. So the only difference is that in Russian, it does change. And our goal to master those cases is to start feeling when to use which ending. So we will start feeling the situation, and then you will just operate with basically the same patterns, because it only seems confusing at the beginning. Later, you will just do it instantly without thinking too much. So why did it even happen? Why did it even happen that in Russian we have so many endings? We have the so-called flexible word order in English and in German and in Japanese and in many languages. Word order is very strict. In Russian, it is flexible. We can say Я люблю Машу. I like Mary. Маша. Or we can say Машу я люблю. Mary, I love. Or we can even put the verb at the first place. Люблю я Машу. Or let's say люблю Машу я. You see how many options we have. We can basically put the words anywhere. So it becomes confusing, right? At some point, it can become pretty confusing. So what to do? How to avoid this confusion? The most common example that teachers bring, you probably saw it on YouTube, or if you followed some courses, this is the most frequently used example. Крокодил и турист. Crocodile and a tourist. So in English, crocodile, let's say, eats a tourist. Very dramatic, very sad, right? It's pretty obvious. So now, when it comes to Russian, if we just use the words crocodile, like here yeah, крокодил, tourist, without any changes, like in English, crocodile, tourist, all the same. If we use it the same way in Russian, but then we remember that the word order in Russian is very flexible. So what if you put tourist in the first place? Tourist eats a crocodile. Yeah, we can say есть крокодил. So who eats who here? We just changed the word order. In English, it would change the meaning. In Russian, how do we understand it? We don't. Because it could be either way. Word order is flexible. Or, how about this? Crocodile and tourist are together now. And how do we understand? Who eats who? Or, ест турист крокодил. So there are no hints at how to understand who eats who and who is alive. And yeah. So what do we do in Russian? In Russian, we would use the endings. The endings. Here it would be the accusative case, and we change the word that is an object of an action. So crocodile is someone who takes the action, and tourist is the one who's been eaten. So this word in this situation will have this ending. And boom, we understand. So now, no matter where the word tourist is in the sentence, we understand who is eaten and who is alive, right? We just added the case ending. The case ending. So now the tourist can be anywhere in the sentence and you understand because the ending changed. It could be the other way around. The crocodile could be eaten. I've heard some people like crocodile soup or something. Crocodila, right? Now we understand, even if the crocodile stays first here, we understand that tourist, the ending didn't change, eats a crocodile because we have this ending that indicates this. So you see how important it is in Russian, because you could put the words anywhere, and through the endings, we can understand what was going on. Another example. John и Jack. John, Jack, two friends. And suddenly some murder occurs. John kills Jack. Very sad. I usually bring this example too in my 3 lessons. So in English it's understandable because of the word order. But in Russian, guess what? It's not understandable if we don't add the ending. John убил Jack, Jack убил John, убил Jack John, John Jack убил, Jack John убил. Again, in Russian, word order, we don't understand. So, guess what? Cases come handy, right? So, Jack is murdered. Убил Джека. John goes to jail. Or, and in this case, again, we can put Джека first, doesn't matter. Or we can put him in the middle. Убил Джека, John. But since we have this ending, we understand who was murdered, who goes to jail. Basically, that's why we need cases in Russian. I hope this is understandable. Now, at this point, you don't need to remember anything, like to memorize everything completely, entirely from the first day. This is a huge mistake when people buy some grammar book and they open and they start all cases at once. This is a huge mistake. Don't do that. Don't do that. One by one, very slowly. This is the general table nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, instrumental, and prepositional. But in this course, I put them in a different order, the one that will help you learn them faster and more efficiently. But this is just in general to understand. So, brata, bratу, brata, bratom, a bratie. So each case will have different endings for different words, and it can become very confusing. So no rush, and just keep it in mind that it's just part of our grammar. So not too much effort, please. What I wanted to answer at the kind of beginning, before we even start, can we avoid cases? I hear it a lot, and I hear it a lot from people, different bloggers who learned Russian and everything. Like, can we just not use cases at all whatsoever? And actually you can, why not? But you see what can happen. Of course, people will understand you. You can just ignore them completely, and you will be understood from the context, or the Russian person will just kind of clarify, did you mean this? Did you mean that? So, of course, the communication will be okay. It's not problem. You will be understood. But if you want to sound like a Russian person, if you want to, I don't know, just kind of look good when you speak Russian, of course nobody's gonna make fun of you or anything. But if it bothers you, absolutely you can just skip them. And the main rule I have, is it even spelled correctly? Whatever. This is my main rule for learning cases. So every time you feel frustration, every time you think, I'm not gonna remember all those endings, it doesn't make sense, it's ridiculous, there is no need for this, I'm just, no, it's not for me. Every time you have even the slightest thought like that, just remember this word, whatever. Remember, you can just avoid cases and everything will be fine. So if this seems like super overwhelming at this moment, if it seems that it's beyond your capabilities, just remember, okay, whatever, and just let this thought go. But don't quit. Don't quit, because cases is this stage of grammar where a lot of people simply quit, unfortunately. But if you keep this whatever in your mind every time you get frustrated, you will be fine. You will come back to it later, but never let this frustration to stop you from continuing learning, and the most important, enjoying the learning process. Okay? So that's pretty much it for the introduction. Now let's talk about the nominative case, the first case.